Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to unpack the high-stakes, real-world bidding war for Neomarina's massive international port logistics hub. Mega projects exactly like this one are where complex engineering, global economics, and intricate geopolitics all completely collide. So let's jump right in and break down exactly how these monumental, nation-shaping decisions are actually made.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this decision, just think about that price tag for a second. $850 million. For an emerging economy like Neomarina, we're not just talking about a simple construction contract here. This is a defining, generation-spanning investment. It's exactly the kind of money that can fundamentally alter a nation's entire economic trajectory.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, the mega prize itself. Second, we'll meet the contenders. Third, we'll dive into the hidden complexities. And finally, the final scorecard.
All right, part one, the megaport prize, upgrading Neomarina. We have to start with the prize itself, which was designed by the Ministry of Infrastructure in direct collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank. And honestly, the country isn't just patching up a few old docks. They are literally building a regional logistics hub from the ground up, which demands some serious global expertise. The scope is absolutely immense. They want to completely modernize their existing infrastructure, build an entirely new container terminal, bring in state-of-the-art automated management systems, and, this is crucial, develop all the complementary road and rail infrastructure needed to actually move that cargo inland. It's a complete top-to-bottom logistical overhaul.
Moving right along to part two, meet the contenders, 4 global giants. When the government put out a near billion-dollar call, the market definitely answered, giving us 4 incredibly diverse approaches to funding and execution. It's wild to see how varied these structures are side by side. We've got global port developers, a European-led group leaning really heavily on bank loans. Then there's the Eastern Harbor Consortium, an Asian group backing their bid with a massive 60% government loan. The Americans Infrastructure Alliance is bringing North and Latin American companies together using infrastructure bonds. And finally, Neomarina Development Partners, which is a mixed group integrating local and international players with direct government participation.
Now, if we focus strictly on the financial cost, wow, what a spread. The Eastern Harbor Consortium is offering the absolute cheapest bid at $795 million. That is a staggering $65 million lower than the highest bid, which actually comes from the local NDP consortium at $860 million.
But hey, time is money, right? So let's look at the clock. Once again, EHC promises the absolute fastest turnaround at just 30 months. To put that into perspective, that is a full year faster compared to the local NDP bid, which expects the whole shebang to take 42 months. So on paper at least, EHC is both cheaper and faster.
Which naturally sets up the ultimate question for global supply chains. The exact same supply chains that dictate the price of goods at your local store. Do you automatically award the contract to the bidder who promises the quickest and cheapest results? If you're only looking at the bottom line, it seems like a total no-brainer. But when you're dealing with a project valued at nearly $1 billion that's going to shape a nation's economy for decades, well, the cheapest price tag often conceals the highest long-term costs.
Which brings us to part 3, the hidden complexities, drama in the details. To really answer that question, we have to look way past the raw numbers and examine the hidden strings attached to these massive international proposals. So the real catch here is that EHC's incredible offer is heavily conditional. It completely relies on a government loan that actually mandates using foreign labor and foreign materials rather than boosting local jobs. This is such a classic dilemma in international development. Yes, absolutely. Neomarina gets a state-of-the-art port quickly and cheaply, but they completely miss out on a massive opportunity to inject capital into their own local workforce and domestic supply chains just because the financing is intrinsically tied to the origin country of the consortium. Okay, so what about the flip side? Impartial preliminary assessments show that even the local NDP bid has its own pretty major complications. Civil society organizations are raising some serious red flags about transparency and political ties. While NDP does integrate local companies and aims to build local capacity, those exact local ties are generating intense scrutiny regarding potential conflicts of interest. It just goes to show that whether a bid is foreign-heavy or domestic-heavy, they both come with entirely different yet equally challenging risk profiles.
And the puzzle just keeps getting more complicated. Beyond pure costs, these decisions shape international relations, they spark fierce environmental debates, and they determine whether local workers receive actual, usable training. According to the tender documents, some of these consortia plan to essentially run the new automated systems entirely from abroad. That means almost zero real technology transfer to Neomarina's actual workforce. Add to that the very real environmental concerns regarding dredging impacts on the incredibly fragile local marine ecosystem, and it becomes crystal clear that this tender is a massive, multidimensional balancing act.
All right, finally, part 4, the final scorecard, how Neomarina actually decides. So how on earth does an evaluation committee actually weigh all these conflicting pros and cons impartially? Well, they use a highly meticulous formula that proves this is never, ever just about finding the lowest price. Technical proposal and quality actually get the biggest piece of the pie at 35%. The economic offer, only 25%. Then you have experience and financial capacity sitting at 20%, with technology transfer and socio-environmental impact each taking a 10% share of the final grade.
The math there is super clear. The technical proposal and its overall quality carry significantly more weight than the pure financial offer. By setting it up this way, the government of Neomarina and the Inter-American Development Bank are signaling a massive strategic pivot. The durability, the automation capabilities, and the overall structural integrity of this logistics hub are vastly more vital to their long-term economic strategy than simply saving some money up front.
Preliminary risk assessments explicitly warn that these decisions inherently bind nations together, both commercially and politically. When a massive piece of national infrastructure is funded by a foreign government loan, the ties go far, far deeper than just concrete and steel. Neomarina is fully aware that this choice is going to reverberate way beyond the shipping docks. Which leaves us with a pretty crucial thought to chew on. If you were sitting in the hot seat, what trade-offs would you be willing to make for Neomarina's future? Would you embrace the speed and the massive savings of the foreign bid, despite the harsh conditions on local labor and those geopolitical implications? Or would you pay top dollar to maintain local integration and independence, even with the transparency concerns? It is a phenomenal balancing act. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer to unpack this absolutely incredible case study. I will catch you on the next deep dive.